There was a car being loaded onto a trailer at Berlin Raceway on Wednesday night, and it belonged to one of the biggest names in car culture in the entire country. Heavy damage to the nose, heavy damage down the right side, another night done early. But to understand why that moment mattered so much, you have to go back to something NASCAR officials told him months earlier, because the instruction came first and the result came second, and the order is the whole story here. Earlier this year, Garrett Mitchell, known to nearly 5 million subscribers as Cleetus McFarland, wanted to run a second race in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, this one at Talladega Superspeedway. NASCAR did not approve it. Officials told him directly they wanted to see more short track starts in that series first, alongside his continued work in the Arca Menard Series and the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Mitchell addressed it in a video at the time, saying, "It is what it is," while confirming more truck races were still on his schedule regardless. That context matters because Wednesday night at Berlin Raceway, a short track in Marne, Michigan, wasn't a detour from that plan. It wasn't him going off and doing his own thing. It was the exact assignment NASCAR had given him, and he went and did it. For those unfamiliar with the person behind the persona, Mitchell was born on April 5, 1995, making him 31 years old. He's from Bradenton, Florida, and owns the Freedom Factory racetrack there. For more than a decade he's built one of the largest audiences in car culture online, but over the last 2 seasons specifically, he's been chasing something considerably harder than views and subscribers, an actual, legitimate racing career inside NASCAR's own ladder system. In 2025, he made 4 Arca Menard Series starts driving for Rhett Jones Racing, racing at Daytona International Speedway, Talladega Superspeedway, Charlotte Motor Speedway, and Bristol Motor Speedway. He scored 2 top 10 finishes that year, including a 10th-place run at Talladega and a career-best 9th-place finish at Charlotte. In 2026, the program grew considerably. Mitchell has now made 9 combined starts across 2 Arca divisions and NASCAR's lower 2 national series. He finished 11th in the Arca Menard Series race at Daytona in February. He finished 4th in the Arca Menard Series East event at Rockingham Speedway in April. And on April 25, he finished 2nd in the Arca Menard Series race at Talladega, the best result of his career to date. He also made his Truck Series debut at Daytona in February, driving the number 4 Chevrolet for Nice Motorsports, sponsored by Black Rifle Coffee Company. One more piece of background deserves a respectful mention here. Mitchell built a close relationship with the late NASCAR veteran Greg Biffle, who served as an advisor during his Arca debut at Daytona. Biffle and his family passed away in a plane crash in December. Mitchell spoke at his memorial gathering and has continued to reference Biffle's personal motto, to be like Biff, as something that still guides how he approaches his racing. Now notice the pattern running through every single one of those starts. Daytona, Talladega, Charlotte, Michigan, Kansas, Nashville. Those are all superspeedways and intermediate tracks, where the draft and the aerodynamic package do an enormous amount of the work for the driver. Berlin Raceway is a completely different discipline. It's a 0.438-mile bullring, high-banked, with tight corners where cars get loose without warning and the margin for error shrinks to almost nothing. Carson Hocevar, a Cup Series driver and friend of Mitchell's who won this exact event back in 2024, once described the place by saying there's never been a perfect race car at Berlin Raceway, and that the entire exercise comes down to who's the best of the worst in handling. So for his first ever super late model start, Mitchell didn't pick a forgiving track to ease into the discipline. He picked one of the most difficult short tracks available in the entire country. And the field made it even harder. 30 cars were entered for the Tekken 250 at Berlin, and 27 of them took the green flag. Tristan McKee, a rising young star in pavement racing and a prospect for Spire Motorsports, was there. So was Bubba Pack, widely regarded as one of the all-time greats of super late model racing. Carson Hocevar was in the field. So was Ty Majeski, a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion. Terry Seneker, Joey Dwarin, Trevor LaPointe, and Kyle Steckley were all entered as well. 250 laps. $40,000 to the winner. Against a field of drivers who have spent entire careers mastering this exact type of car on this exact type of track. And for Garrett Mitchell, this was lap 1 of a brand new racing discipline. In hot laps, Mitchell ran a lap of 16.366 seconds, which lined him up 22nd in the starting order. For comparison, Carson Hocevar was 4th quickest at 16.216 seconds. His starting position was confirmed heading into the race. The race got eventful early. Mitchell caught himself in a spin while attempting to avoid an incident happening ahead of him. He kept the car off the wall and rejoined the field without ending his night on the spot. At a track like Berlin Raceway, where a moment like that regularly ends with a car in the fence, saving it was the first genuinely encouraging data point of his entire evening. From there, he didn't settle into a survival run at the back of the field. He worked forward into the pack. The middle portion of the race brought the standard attrition of short track competition, rubbed fenders, a battled tire rub, and at one point, while being lapped, race leader Evan Shotko reacted to contact between the two cars with a frustrated gesture as he went by. That moment is worth understanding correctly. It isn't a scandal. It's simply a race leader dealing with traffic on a small, tight racetrack. But it tells you something concrete about where Mitchell was actually running. He wasn't 2 laps down and invisible somewhere at the tail of the field. He was close enough to the front that the leader of the race had to work around him. Being in the leader's mirror is a meaningful place for a rookie to find himself. It's also precisely the place where a rookie can get into trouble. Meanwhile, the battle for the win was developing up front. Shotko, who had won this event a few years earlier, led much of the night. Then, with just under 15 laps remaining, something broke on the right front of his car. He went hard into the turn 3 wall, ending his night just short of the checkered flag. He finished 16th. That set up a late race battle for the victory between Bubba Pack and Tristan McKee, racing door to door with a handful of laps remaining, until Pack lost ground entering turn 3. McKee went on to take his first career victory in the Tekken 250 at Berlin. Pack settled for second, with Carson Hocevar third, Ty Majeski fourth, and Boris Jurkovic fifth. Now to the moment that ended Mitchell's night. With 19 laps to go, Mitchell got loose entering turn 3 as Shotko was closing in to put him a lap down. His own explanation afterward was simple and self-critical. He said he overcooked the corner and got loose. The car snapped around and slid down the racetrack. Shotko managed to thread through and avoid him. The car directly behind him did not have that option. That car belonged to Keith Herb, running 14th at the time and already a lap down. Mitchell's spinning car made contact, damaging the nose of his own machine and the right side of Herb's car. When the race ended, Mitchell was scored 19th out of 27 starters. Herb finished 18th. What happened immediately afterward is the part the short track community has actually been discussing. Speaking trackside in the aftermath, Mitchell didn't make excuses. He was direct about the fact that he'd made a mistake. He then walked over to Keith Herb's team in person and spoke with them directly that same night, before any statement was issued and before any video was even published. He expanded on it further in a video uploaded to his own social media accounts after the race, opening by pointing out that Herb had gotten the worst of the contact, noting that he'd already gone over to talk with Herb's team, and apologizing again. He explained the spin honestly rather than staying quiet about it, saying, "Completely got my ass kicked tonight, but I learned a lot, man. The racecraft that you need to pass somebody when there's really just no good place to pass was insane. It was so competitive. This is just as hard as the big series in NASCAR." He closed the video by confirming the damage to his super late model is fixable, and that he needs to get back out there and keep learning. Short track paddocks talk, and word travels quickly in that community about which drivers own their mistakes and which ones don't. Walking directly to the team you collected, on the same night, on camera, is the kind of thing that can buy a rookie a second chance in that garage area. So how should this performance actually be graded? There's a case on both sides. The case that it was acceptable. These were his first competitive laps ever in a super late model, at one of the hardest short tracks in the country, against a field containing multiple former winners of this exact event. He started 22nd, worked into the middle of the field, was racing in the leader's lap traffic rather than hiding at the back, and saved an early spin without hitting the wall. The case that it wasn't, he damaged another competitor's race car through his own error, and Keith Herb was an innocent party in it. 19th out of 27 is still 19th, and raw pace isn't the same thing as racecraft. Racecraft is exactly what Berlin Raceway tests, and that's the area where the night went wrong. A reasonable summary is that it was a defensible debut with a costly ending, and Mitchell was the first person to say so himself. What happens next is already moving fast. Roughly 6 weeks ago, Mitchell's own Freedom Factory announced registration for the first ever Cleetus McFarland Late Model Series race at Berlin Raceway, scheduled for Saturday, August 15, 75 laps, $20,000 to the winner, with Mitchell serving as both promoter and entrant in the same event. Whether he takes the green flag in a repaired chassis, a backup car, or something assembled in a hurry hasn't been publicly confirmed. He said the damage is fixable and fixed by Saturday are not the same statement, and no one has clarified which applies yet. That brings the story back to where it started. NASCAR wanted more short-track experience before granting further approvals. Berlin Raceway is short-track experience. The wreck is poor optics, but the repetitions themselves are the entire point of the exercise. Mitchell hasn't yet set a firm late-model racing schedule beyond that. His next confirmed NASCAR start comes on October 23, driving the number 4 truck for Nice Motorsports at Talladega. He's building a racetrack, a racing series, and a driving career all at the same time, and Wednesday night at Berlin Raceway was the tuition payment on the third one. So here's the question worth arguing about in the comments: does Garrett Mitchell belong on a short track alongside Bubba Pack and Tristan McKee right now? Or does he need a full season of these races first before that conversation is even a serious one? Let us know what you think down below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more NASCAR news and analysis every week.